Sentient being, Citizen of Gotham. It is Tuesday, June 9th, 2015. Thanks for stopping by and tuning in. Activist post, new Wi-Fi tracking system counts people even without a connected drive. This has to do a little bit as well with something else I wanted to discuss. But before I preface it, even though this is more about tracking, it still has to do with Wi-Fi and other stuff that I wanted to touch on. So before I go in on that, I wanted to preface it with this first.
What's up, everybody? E from Truth Virus. I was checking out this video here by Kafka Winston World, and she started talking about frequencies here, the electromagnetic frequencies, and how it's been affecting her personally in her personal life. And I agree with her 110% with everything she's saying about these electromagnetic devices and Wi-Fi, and how we need to get away from all of that shit. And if you haven't checked her channel out, go check her out. Alright, go sub, go watch this video if you feel like hearing more about frequencies too. And in the video, and again, she's another channel that I vibe with, and she's coming from the heart, from the space of love. You can just feel that frequency coming off of her, because love is a frequency too. And in this video, she said that people should start making more videos about frequency and shit like that. So, hey, I figured I'd make me one. Have her back a little bit, talk a little bit about frequencies and how they're poisoning us with these fucking electromagnetic frequencies, all right? How to understand.
So, I concur with E from Truth Virus, and also Kafka. She's a cool woman. Does a lot of good work, just like E. So I wanted to support both of them in my little way, which is small, but nonetheless. Hence the prefacing with them, and then with this article. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's kind of long. I'm going to read part of it, and then I have a bunch of links I want to show that talk about ELFs, EMFs, and Wi-Fi, and all the links will be in the description box talking about it. I live in New York, and I can attest to the ELFs and EMFs as well. I probably haven't been, I don't think as affected as Kafka, but when I went away for a while ago, or a little bit ago, when I was away for about 6 months, I didn't have any of the headaches that I had, and I didn't get the nausea I had, and I slept 1,000 times better. Not that I slept perfectly, but I slept, it's like night and day. And overall, I just felt better. I had more energy. I wasn't as tired. I slept better. I didn't get any headaches. I wasn't as aggravated. There was obviously a lot less noise and stuff. But coming back to the city, it only took about 2 or 3 days, and the headaches started coming back. Sleeping got disrupted. I already, deal with insomnia, and that's a part of it, or a good portion of it has to do with MMR shots for 5 years. But aside from that, I do hear ringing at times in one of my ears, sometimes in both. Usually it's one ear. I've also heard like a low humming. I've also heard noises outside, and went outside to see and to hear it, and it wasn't heard. And then when I come back in the apartment, I could hear it, which is really rather strange. Maybe that's not really related, but the humming I think is, and also just the energy. So many times during the day, I could be sitting here. I just went through a bout of about 4 months of just having these terrible headaches, like every day for like 6, 7, 8 hours, and it was crazy. It was just these very painful headaches, and I didn't understand what the hell it was. And I'm like, I started thinking maybe I have a tumor. Now maybe I have a tumor. Maybe I have a tumor and I'm dying, and I don't know. But I don't have them right now. That's me knocking on wood. So thankfully they don't come back. But I noticed them, and since I've been back in the city, which is where I spent most of my life. There are these periods at times, could be months or whatever, or the better part of a year, that it's just all this weird energy and you just feel like crap and so forth and so on. So without going into any more of that, and this has something to do with it because even though it's talking about Wi-Fi tracking, it still correlates to the Wi-Fi emissions as well, and cell phone towers and all that. So many scientists have issued health warnings about the near and ubiquitous presence of Wi-Fi in our homes and in the public, which is why I prefaced this. Now there might be a new concern on the horizon, public Wi-Fi signals that can identify and track groups of individuals even if they're not holding a personal connected device. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? As we have come to learn, one of the hallmarks of technology is dual or multi-use capability. It is for this reason that we are softened up with all the benefits before being introduced to the darker side. Researchers continue to pursue invisible, persuasive ways to track human beings. Below is a chronicle of how Wi-Fi signals are being used in creative ways to ensure that whether or not you have opted out for the latest gadgetry, you still will be caught in an ever-widening net of the latest surveillance tech, which is true. They have the surveillance, the Wi-Fi towers and cell towers that are looking like trees, and they try to hide them as trees, which is funny. And he's done work on that as well as Kafka and other people too, but mostly I've seen more work from them at the moment. From all my subs, I sub like probably 400 or 500 people. Anyway, a little more than 2 years ago, the first enhancement of Wi-Fi was labeled Wi-Track. It marked an improvement over a discovery of MIT researchers. A few months previous, they had called Wi-Fi. At the time, researchers were able to use dual signals to detect the general location of moving objects behind walls, but not an exact image. Wi-Track uses radio signals to pinpoint a person's location more accurately. An MIT press release explained the significance between Wi-Fi and Wi-Track. Wi-Track operates by tracking specialized radio signals reflected off of a person's body to pinpoint location and movement. The system uses multiple antennas, 1 of 4 transmitting signals and 3 for receiving. The system then builds a geometric model of the user's location by transmitting signals between the antennas and using the reflections of a person's body to estimate the distance between the antennas and the user. Wi-Track is available to locate motion with significant increased accuracy as opposed to tracking devices that rely on wireless signals, according to EDIB. Because of limited bandwidth, you can get very high location accuracy using Wi-Fi signals, EDIB says. Wi-Track transmits a very low power radio signal, which is like an ELF, 100 times smaller than Wi-Fi and 1,000 times smaller than what your cell phone can transmit, but the signal is structured in a particular way to measure the time from when the signal is transmitted until the reflections come back. Wi-Track has a geometric model that maps reflection delays to exact location of a person. The model can also eliminate reflections of walls and furniture to allow us to focus on on tracking human motion. Well, isn't that nice? It's basically you can see through your walls and see everything you're doing. Amazing. Especially when you go to the bathroom. Isn't that nice? Wow, someone's watching me take a dump. Wonderful, right? As if on cue, we're presented with the enormous benefits of the low-cost technology while being given none of the potential negatives. In the video, we see the convenience element that would fit into the various applications of smart homes and the Internet of Things. Secondly, our video games, which would take the somewhat cumbersome Wii to entire new levels and leave it to the MIT to pimp the 2 most military-oriented games on the market that would benefit. I'm not going to go into military games, but those things are made by CIA to get people used to killing people through video games and through pushing buttons, which war will eventually be more about. It's conditioning. But anyway, I digress too much. Imagine playing a video game called Call of Duty or Battlefield and having the ability to lead your virtual army unit while moving freely through your house. Yes, imagine further acclimating America's youth to become even more involved in the realism that has become violent gaming based on military campaigns, but I digress. Not to mention that it's an altered reality, a virtual reality that people want to live in and use the Oculus system as well. For the real sales pitch, we have to look at disaster relief and personal safety, which is precisely what the rollout of the microwave device cited above sets out to highlight. Here's what was said about Wi-Fi. Researchers think that Wi-Fi system could also be used to find survivors in destroying buildings or count and track criminals. Of course, they have to say this because this is the reason why. Give up all your rights and you'll be safe. It's the same Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution, mendacity, to get you to fall for it, just like automation is going to be sold as a great thing, just like transhumanism is going to be sold as a great thing, and they're all evil. Do your own research and discern for yourself why they're evil. You don't need me to tell you why. They are evil. That's my humble opinion through my research. I say read, research, discern for your own, and you should draw the same conclusions. If not, I would humbly suggest that you're probably conditioned a little bit too much. Sorry to say that. Compared to previous military-oriented tracking systems, Wi-Fi is cheap, compact, and lightweight, which makes it practical for consumer users such as personal safety. Researchers now hope to improve the technology so it can work with denser walls over longer ranges. MIT later announced that they had perfected a system which can track multiple people through walls as well as breathing and heart rate to a 99% accuracy. Isn't that nice to know that, now they don't even need your phones and stuff just because of the cell phone towers and stuff, that they can see through your walls and see exactly what you're doing? It's the big brother to the umpteenth degree, isn't it? Unbelievable. The new system is called WIZ. Isn't that funny? Kind of like the Wizard of Oz, right? Researchers at Computer Science and Artificial Intelligence Laboratory transmitted a low-power wireless signal through a wall and measured how long it took the signals to bounce back. Changes in the reflected signals allowed the team to measure movement or even minute chest movements. Based on a person's chest rising and falling, the CSAIL group can determine their heart rate with a 99% accuracy. The system can track up to 4 people at a time. The first application touted naturally is to monitor your baby's vital signs. Of course, let's sell it for protection as well. Don't be surprised that Jade Helm will be using this stuff when they do, 3 of the hour morning SWAT raids on people to confiscate guns. They're going to use all this technology. Website Extreme Tech, while being truly excited about these developments, correctly summarized where they expected this to lead. Perhaps most significantly, though, the world moving towards wearable computers and ubiquitous sensor networks, WIS could play a role in tracking your movement and vital signs without having to wear a Fitbit, or smartwatch. Why would you want to wear either? It's quite easy to imagine a wide-scale radio-based sensor network that tracks the movement of everyone through a given area. That's insanity. I was going to say insane, but it's insanity. And then using some kind of beacon system, say if your smartphone broadcasts your identity, the sensor's data could be correlated to each person. It would be equal parts great news for people wanting to track of their health and activity levels in modern-day governments that just love to surveil the populace. Well, that's the key to it all, right? That the government wants to surveil and play Big Brother and have an Orwellian state where they know, how many times you take a dump, how many times you wipe your ass with. Do you do 2 strokes, 1 stroke, left hand, right hand? It's unbelievable. People say, you got nothing to hide. Why are you so nervous? That's the stupidest answer to this. I'm not going to even waste my time responding to that. The move toward ubiquitous sensor networks without having to wear any pesky devices is indeed being perfected, and once again we can see a multi-use approach that leans more heavily toward future tracking and social management than it does its oft-touted search and rescue pitch. Well, thank you for noticing. That is a pitch. They're selling a bunch of bullshit, the mendacity, to get you to believe into this. I'm going to read these last couple. I'm going to read up to here, and then... Oh, I'm almost done. Sorry, I didn't know it was that. I thought it was longer than that. To move forward, ubiquitous sensor networks without having to wear any pesky devices, indeed. Researchers in UC Santa Barbara, Professor Yasmin Mostafi, a lab at proving that wireless signals can do more than provide internet access. They have demonstrated that a Wi-Fi signal can be used to count the number of people in a given space, leading to diverse applications from energy efficient to search and rescue. Our approach can estimate the number of people walking in an area based on only the received power measurements of Wi-Fi link, says Mostafi. It didn't look like Mostafi before, sorry. A professor of electrical and computer engineering, this approach does not require people to carry Wi-Fi-enabled telecommunications devices or for them to be counted, Mostafi emphasized. Well, that's amazing that we could just be, just basically X-rayed at will. To accomplish this feat of people counting, the researchers put 2 Wi-Fi cards at opposite ends of the target area, roughly 70 square meter space, using only the received power measurements of the link between the 2 cards. Their approach can estimate the number of people walking around that area. So far, they have successfully tested it up to including 9 people in both indoor and outdoor settings. Unbelievable, man. With the near ubiquity, easy for me to say, with the near ubiquity of Wi-Fi in many settings, the researchers' findings have the potential for many diverse applications. First instance, the ability to estimate the number of people in a given space could be used in smart homes and buildings. Why does everything have to be smart? That's so retarded. You give up so much you give up all your privacy to have things have convenience. But this whole generation, from people about 30 years and under, believe in just giving away. And I'm not insulting anyone. I'm just making a point. It's just the age frame. My generation didn't have this, thankfully, but we got messed up as well, just like every generation gets messed up. We got messed up on different things. So air conditioning and heating could be adjusted according to the level of occupancy. Stores can benefit from counting the number of shoppers for better business planning, noted Mostafi. Security and search and rescue operations, again, they have to point this out, could also take advantage of occupancy. Estimation. Previous work in this research lab involved imaging stationary objects, humans through walls, so that means they can x-ray you. That's why I made that comment prior, in case people are like, what did you say about x-ray? That's why, because it was already mentioned, so I just buttressed the point, which they end up underscoring what I said. With Wi-Fi signals, and Mostafi plans to eventually bring the 2 projects together in the future. You can see what this merger might look like, integrated with robots, of course, as illustrated in the following video. So they have some links here. The other links I wanted to show off is this is extremely low frequency. This is, telling you about the hertz of it, and these cell towers produce very high, percentages of frequency. They have a low frequency. They're pushing them out at like thousands of watts compared to just a few. They only need like 3 or 4 or 10 watts, but they're pushing them out at thousands of watts. It's crazy. And saying, I think Kafka covered that, and I did cover that in one of my videos too. I think it was an activist post that was talking about it. It was insane. I think we both covered the same article, which was just insane about what they do. So anyway, this is another article about extremely low frequency radiation power lines, which is EMFs as well, which are electromagnetic fields. We'll get into that in a second. I'm not going to explain it, but anyway, another article on ELFs and the radiation that they produce, talks about the hertz and all that. Also, these articles should bring about what's safe for humans to be around and what's not. We can only ingest a certain low level of that. Once they go over a certain amount, like 50 or 100, it's very detrimental. And if they're in the thousands, it's, you can change people's moods, their minds. You can have them do crazy things. They use these things in crowd control, and they will be using these things when they have to. When martial law goes into effect and people start rioting, they will use these ELFs to control people. It literally can make you get into a fetal position and start crying. They've also talked about how your brain can, it doesn't melt or anything, and I don't mean it that way, but when you're being bombarded with these things, all these noises and stuff, and these low emitted frequencies, that you literally, besides curling up into a ball, your brain starts to crack and fry, and eventually you could just, your whole system shuts down because of it. So that all sounds crazy, but if you do your research, you'll find out that I'm not disputing it, and if I don't provide the link, then it's up to some of these people who have smart comments to find it on their own rather than saying stupid verbiage toward me. And that's not the 99% of the people that who do watch. This is a PDF, extremely low frequencies. I'm referring to the couple smart asses. They're funny. But anyway, cell phone towers, these are very dangerous. This is what I was talking about, how they are shooting out thousands of watts of stuff. So this guy, James Thomas, a couple videos by him. Another one, cell tower radiation depression. Kafka really goes into this very well, extremely low frequencies, because she was sabotaged, so to speak, or she had to suffer the effects of Wi-Fi, also ELFs as well as EMFs. A lot more than I, so I couldn't speak on it. I could just tell you and waste your time with my little bit, but I'm not going to. This is about EMFs as well. Another article on EMFs, magnetic fields, what they do. Yet another article, the little known dangers of EMFs and how to protect yourself and your family. They're talking about things to be sensitive to. I suffered this, nervous systems like fatigue, stress, and sleep disturbance. I had massive sleep disturbances. I was getting stressed out. I was aggravated all the time. I was tired all the time. I had tremendous lethargy. I was exhausted. Sometimes I would get shaky because I was getting so little sleep for about 3-4 months. I literally got about 3 hours of sleep a night. And there were a couple nights a week that I'd break night, like on Fridays. I usually broke night till Saturday. So I probably averaged out of a week, instead of, if you see 3 hours times 7, that'd be 20. I probably averaged about 19 hours of sleep. And I did it for about 4 months. It was insane. So something was going on. Sometimes I got little mild rashes, not too many. I haven't got any prickling facial. I did get some itching and slight burning on parts of my legs and arms. Nothing that was major, but I felt it. Tremendous body aches and pains, just feeling like I'm about 15, 20 years older than I am, waking up in the morning and feeling like I worked out on a bag for about 4 or 5 hours, like 5 days in a row, just completely exhausted, my bones hurting. I've gotten a lot of eye stuff in the sense of blurry vision and waking up and then my eyes hurting and one eye hurting more than the other and then being dry. I guess that would lead to depression to a certain extent. Yes, I'd agree with that. I don't know about foggy thinking. I'm not very bright, so I guess that's just my way of being. But these are lesser symptoms. Some throat systems right now. I have a bit of a cold, but I don't think that's related. I don't know about infertility. I don't know, maybe I'm sterile and I haven't caught leukemia yet. So anyway, I'm kidding. Anyway, so this is just more articles. So all of these will be in the description box. There's like probably 12 or 15 of them, a couple more videos. All of these articles I think are worth reading, or at least perusing at a certain level. And again, I'd like to give a shout out to Kafka Instant World, which is a cool channel. You should check it out. And also my spirit brother from another mother, E from Truth Virus. They both do good work. Props out to you guys. Much respect and veneration. Namaste.